On February the 14th this year, Ipswich Town faced Bristol Rovers, needing a win to keep them in with a chance of automatic promotion to the Championship. Ipswich drew that game 0-0, which saw them slip 6 points off the League One automatic positions and make it highly unlikely that they would be able to turn their season around and achieve automatic promotion. Now, just 9 months later, Ipswich find themselves second in the Championship, with a serious chance of gaining back-to-back promotions to the Premier League. And as an Ipswich fan myself, it really is a very exciting time to be a fan of this club. So in this video, we will be taking a look at how Ipswich went from a struggling League One side with a lack of investment and a squad lacking identity, to now playing one of the most exciting and successful brands of football, not only in the Championship but in the whole of the EFL. And also, I know everyone and their nan goes on about this, but my analytics show that 99% of people who watch my videos aren't actually subscribed. 99%. So if you could change that by subscribing so that you can keep up to date with the latest English football stories, that would be greatly appreciated. After Ipswich's disappointing relegation to League One at the end of the 18-19 season, they were unable to get promoted at the first attempt. During this time, Ipswich were still under management of Paul Lambert, who was in charge of them when they were relegated the season before, and were also still under the ownership of Marcus Evans, who had been scaling back on his investment into the club over the past few years, so the club was really long overdue for a new ownership to bring the club back to where it belonged. The start of 2021 was a time of big rebuilding for Ipswich. Paul Lambert eventually left the club by mutual consent in February 2021, and a change of ownership came after nearly a whole 2 years in League One, when in April of 2021 the club was sold to American-owned group Game Changer 20, whilst also bringing in former Bristol City chief executive Mark Ashton during that same time. The new ownership immediately came and invested strongly into the club, and with the help of CEO Mark Ashton, they spent big during the summer of 2021, signing very talented players such as Connor Chaplin, Wes Burns, Sam Morley and Cameron Burgess, to name a few. These transfers were not only players that could help them get out of League One, but players that could also perform in the Championship. So this was a window that was really planning for the future, with much more sense of direction than there was under the Marcus Evans ownership. The 21-22 season was unfortunately another mid-table finish. However, this was most likely because the scale of the rebuild needed hadn't been quite achieved yet, with there still needing to be a fair few more players to match with the future vision of the club. This vision continued in the form of a manager, with Paul Cook being sacked in December 2021 and being replaced by Kieran McKenna, a young, ambitious manager who had spent most of his career as assistant manager at Man United. This was his first managerial job of his career, so it was definitely a big gamble from the board, but one that they were willing to take due to him having been Jose Mourinho's assistant coach at United. Although Ipswich didn't get promoted, the club was still progressing towards their goal of building a team for the future, and these visions were further built upon during the summer window of 2022, signing very talented players with plenty of years left in their careers, such as Marcus Harness, Freddie Ladapo, and I would say the best signing of the window, Leif Davis from Leeds. These were all players who were not only very good at League One level, but also at Championship level, so these were more transfers that would help them further down the line. The 22-23 season was when this Ipswich squad really started to shine. The start of the season was very strong, as Ipswich found themselves second in the table at the end of 2022. However, key players such as Marcus Harness on the left wing were beginning to lose their form, and there was still a lack of depth in areas of the field. Coming into the January window, the wheels were starting to come off for Ipswich's season, so it was very important to bring in some more players in January, and they did just that. They signed Massimo Luongo, Nathan Broadhead, George Hurst and Harry Clark. All 4 of these players slotted straight into the starting lineup. These 4 players came into positions that needed addressing and also linked with the club's plans for the future. After the 0-0 draw at Bristol Rovers that was mentioned at the start of this video, Ipswich won 11 of their last 13 games to get them promoted to the Championship, with these January signings being key to their promotion push near the end of the season. The main reason for Ipswich's current success in the Championship is because of what they did in League One. This meant that, coming into their first season back in the second tier this year, Ipswich have a settled squad that is ready for Championship football, and they're not having a scramble in the transfer window to throw together a Championship ready squad. They've already got it right there. The club were able to make improvements here and there to strengthen an already strong squad, such as the brilliant loan signing of Amari Hutchinson from Chelsea, and with the strong identity of play style under McKenna, it really is a recipe for success at Ipswich. I myself am an Ipswich Town fan, and having been supporting during the League One days and now having been to most home games so far this season, there is such a difference in the feel around the club. Like, the atmosphere's improved and there's just such a buzz around the place right now. Currently, Ipswich are up there with a serious shout of getting promoted to the Premier League, having scored 25 goals so far this season. Ipswich Town's resurgence is a story of the impact that the right ownership can have on a football club. Ipswich Town have not only found stability but also a clear path back to success. That's about it for today's video. Let me know in the comments if you think Ipswich can do the back-to-back promotions, and I will see you guys next time.